Hello and welcome to the Iceni Women's Race Series. With me, Emma Martin. This is Challenge 3. We are 3 weeks in to this 4-week race series. I can't believe March is progressing so quickly. Well, tonight we head to Yorkshire. The course based around Harrogate, well, that's just 100 kilometres north of where the studio here is based in real life, so not very far away. Well, great cycling history in Yorkshire, from cyclocross, summer crit racing, mountain biking, road racing, and of course the Tour de France took place in 2024. Indeed, Harrogate saw the finish to stage 1 on July the 5th, with Jens Voigt taking King of the Mountains, Cavendish crashing out in the sprint, and Marcel Kittel taking the win. Well, who will take the win tonight in each of our categories? Who will make Iceni history in Harrogate here on Zwift? We are celebrating Women's History Month here with the Iceni Race Series, which is being brought to you by the Warrior Games in conjunction with Aeonian Race Team, Stolen Goat, ZMS Studios and Full Speed Events. It's an individual competition based on points, and tonight, as we mentioned, it's Challenge 3 of 4. We've done Challenge 1 around Sugar Cookie. Last week we saw 3 mini races for Challenge 2. That was fast and furious. Well, tonight, Challenge 3, we go to the Royal Pump Room 8. It's a figure of 8 on the Climbers course in Yorkshire. That's what lies ahead for our riders and where the points will be won. Well, Pop Bank is indeed the steepest section on the Yorkshire course tonight, but that's not where the 3 intermediates are going to take place. You can see the course beneath us. Constant climbing tonight, and it is indeed a climbing challenge this evening. So 3 intermediate sections along the way, all of them uphill. Let's take a look at those in a little more detail. So the first intermediate comes at 2.8 kilometres into the course tonight, just 400 metres in length, with an average gradient of 2.4%, a short sprint. In fact, it is the reverse sprint tonight, and it will be fastest through the segment times that count on this first intermediate this evening. Well, segment number 2, the second intermediate tonight, you can see that they're coming at 12.2 kilometres into the 27.8 kilometre race distance tonight. 1.2 kilometres. Oh, well, if it only was 1.2 metres, 1.2 kilometres in length this evening. It's got an average gradient of 5.5%, but boy, does it kick, and will our riders' legs notice it? Well, they definitely will do this time up, and they definitely will do later, because whilst they descend off of the top of this, it's the descent from the QOM that they will be going up for our third intermediate. So that third intermediate segment, it's the reverse QOM, 1.2 kilometres in length. This time, just an average gradient of 3.8%, slightly less steep than going up the other way, but it comes at 17.7 kilometres into the race. Then it leaves us just shy of 10 kilometres to get to that finish line, and that Pop Bank wall that I talked about, the climb that hits 17%, that is between this reverse QOM and that finish line. So tonight, our riders' legs, well, I hope they're bringing their climbing legs, because that is what they are going to need this evening. So our riders tonight needing their climbing legs to pick up points, a maximum total of 150 points on offer tonight. The 3 intermediates, top number of points for whether it's fastest through the segment or first across the line. 25 points to the first rider, scoring those points on those intermediates. A maximum number of points of 75 for the rider first across the finish line tonight, giving a total maximum points score of 150 to be had in Yorkshire this evening. Well, let's take a look, shall we, at the current standings at the moment on the Iceni Women's Series. These are the current standings across all 4 of our categories. Well, the top 10 indeed. So, Category A, Otto climbing up last week from 3rd to top spot with 285 points. Leonie May, 244 points, coming up from 5th place to 2nd. Well, 41 points now separates 1st and 2nd in the A category. Embring moving into the top 5 as well. 235 points she sits at, just 9 points behind 2nd place. So all to play for in those standings. Proust dropping from 2nd to 4th. London working her way up as well. Svardström and Engström all in the mix in terms of points. In fact, 86 points separate the top 10 tonight. And Elise Gallegos, who is in the mix this evening, 9th there in Category A, didn't ride the first round, so phenomenal point scoring last week to get into the top 10. Well, Category B, the story is a little bit different. Solgrim is was in equal first position with Vassen going into the mix last week. So first and second have not changed, but Solgrim has indeed started to stretch those points out now. 26 points separating those 2 riders. Smederod, Gilbert, Ernst, Cabot, Irish, Neeson, Dobbins and Louise all in that top 10. 96 points separating those top 10 riders at the moment. In Category C, we're seeing a real battle going on between Anae from Herd and Debbie Wimblet from the Ionian squad, because they've switched places. Wimblet was in first last time going in. Anae takes it up to first place this time after those 3 mini races last week, but just 11 points separating those 2 riders. Williams, the Ionian rider, moving into 3rd place. Pepin, just 15 points back from her, but then Overmo and Profumo all coming up. Overmo 4 points back, Profumo 2 points back, so very, very close in Category C. Category D, actually, well, this is where it is at. This is where the competition is at, because this is so close. Halbus from Swedish Zwifters, 274 points in top spot. Williams in 2nd place from the Ionian squad, 264 points, so 10 points separating those 2 riders. In fact, the Swedish Zwifter rider only extended her lead over Williams by 1 point last week, so those 2 are absolutely battling it out at the moment. Michelle F from Evo in 3rd, Gottberg, Taylor, Hewitt, Hughes, all so close. In fact, only just over 50 points separating the top 10 riders in Category D. It could all change in Category D. The points are up for grabs. So our results across the series, all possible changes again. Who will we see dominate today? Well, those points are all about climbing points today, as well as those finish points. The riders are down on the start line. The first category away will be our Category A riders at 6 o'clock. At 1 minute past 6, our Category B riders, and then C, followed by D. Well, our Category A riders, they are up and out of the start pen. The race is on. They are out on to the race course. This is Yorkshire, and our Category A riders are away. So 25 women taking to the start line today for our Category A riders. And we can see the riders there in the Zoom room at the moment. They are riding and pushing on at the start. So category A now out of that start pen and away. So Alba from Synergy, Wickenberg, Horner in the mix. Baines is here, so is Parry and Dixon. Maudsley is here too. McIntosh, I can see, and Parry and Proust all in the mix here right at the front of this pack as they drop down into the corner and they come sweeping around it. Now, it's a figure of 8 course tonight, and you can see on the top right-hand corner of your screen the riders where they are on the course. So other information for you on your screen tonight. You can see the riders' names on the bottom right there. Indeed, Proust is the rider we are following at the moment. She's highlighted in that blue. It is then her data and her information that is on the top of your screen, giving you that information. So currently at 160-ish watts, revs per minute of 78, so revolutions per minute, her cadence, and currently a heart rate of around 160. So that data up in your top left-hand corner will change as we get to view our different riders tonight. So the category 1 race underway and the group rolling comfortably together. Now that first intermediate, the Yorkshire Sprint Reverse, coming at 2.8 kilometres into this course, 400 metres in length, average gradient of 2.4%, so it is uphill. So they're going to come sweeping around this corner and then they're going to continue along the road. You can just start to see a little bit of a stretch on the group here, and that's because we're on a downhill section into that corner. The pace picking up here. Baines and Parry on the front, wanting to keep the pace high as we start to roll into an uphill section. Now, as you saw from the profile earlier on today, the course constantly changing in profile, and we can see there we're in with Proust. She is on the bottom left of our screen. Fabulous, these shots of our riders as we can see them in the pack racing, but on their bike as well. They are going to come into that first intermediate points section first. Now, fastest through the segment, not necessarily first across the line. So the rider who is first may not be the fastest. Now, we would expect to see a rider work their way through the pack to get a faster time, utilising the draft of the group. And we can see a number of the Wahoo Le Col riders just hanging back off the group here in terms of Otto. Gallegos as well is here, so is Engstrom and McIntosh, all hanging back on the group at the moment. They are awaiting that sprint section in around 700 metres. Now, interesting tactics here from the riders that we are expecting to see want to pick up those points. Fire socks are alight in our category A group as the riders start to push on here. We've got Tomkinson and Alba from Synergy. Petroska is there as well. Absolutely pushing on. Hard pace here. The riders in this group now as they're going for this, and it's Petroska who from Team Vegan who wants this, absolutely working hard, pushing on and pushing through the segment there. Well, working so hard to take that fast time through. Gallegos coming through from the back, so is Proust, who has set the fastest time on that section. That is going to be really interesting to see. So as our category 1 riders are now through the first sprint on the Yorkshire course, our category B riders come round the corner and into the effort. And we can see now Tennille from Rave, Dobbins, Torrey pushing on through. Ernst is here as well. Lawson is in the mix, so is Cabot. We've got orange numbers on the screen as Dobbins comes over the line first. But Torrey, Gina from Team NL, Ernst from Crushpod, all in the mix. Tennille from Rave is here too. Now, these riders looking for the fastest time through the segment, not the fastest across the line. So it's looking like the fastest time in category A, going to Alba from Synergy, Proust into Nevin in 3. It's also, wow, really good, strong riding at the moment. Now, this is category C. So category C now, 2.2 kilometres into the race. Here is the green line indicating the start of the reverse sprint at the moment. So the riders pushing on here. Real push as we see the riders come through the pack. We've got a number of riders really pushing through the pack at the moment, trying to make the most of the draft, as Luckberg is the rider in front with Profumo, with Jules from Galaxy. Zoella is there as well, and Ane. Now, Ane, we know, is leading this at the moment. She wants those points, but so do the other riders. White coming up and over the top as Ane comes up and over the top of the front, but Wunro, wow, Wunro is coming through that section seriously fast. So Wunro there coming through that so fast as she picks up the pace here through that intermediate effort. Absolutely flying through the pack in category C. Our category D riders, they were the last riders out of the start pen. They are the riders who we are in with at the moment. They are going to start to come up onto the start of the reverse sprint. You can see there the sprint line just ahead of them. They've got 400 metres of racing for the sprinters. Carla from Aeonian, she's opening up the effort at the moment on the front of the group. The rest of the riders can do nothing but chase her at the moment. Cook is there, Powell is there, Weber is there, Wilkman, Hughes, Stockbridge, Cook, but Carla from Aeonian is leading this out at the moment. Can she push? Can she make the effort to the line? Can she take the first dist through the segment on this section? So this is a fastest through the section effort at the moment, and the riders are coming thick and fast from behind. Kroll is coming, so is Stoney, Halbus and Law. All of these riders now coming through the pack and over the top. Wow, it is fast and furious, and those riders coming from the back of the pack to the front of the pack. That's what it's all about. Fastest through the segment. So our category A riders now all back together again following the push through the first intermediate points. Uphill segment, Yorkshire Sprint reverse, it was 400 metres in length, and do have some results in front of me actually. For the fastest through the segment in category A was Gallegos, who we saw come from the back of the group to the front, who is going to take that. Piotrowska is in second, Proust in third, Dobbins in fourth, Horner in fifth. As we see that, in fact, look at that, you can see the results on the screen in front of you. Augustin in sixth, Otto in seventh, Berrimand in eighth, Sogren in ninth, and Nevin in 10th. While the riders seriously pushing on through that sprint reverse intermediate, fastest through the segment across all of our categories. The riders now heading out into the hills of Yorkshire. You can see at the moment this group of riders, this group of women in the A category now coming up for 10 minutes of racing, 5.8 kilometres into this 27.8 kilometre race. The gradient at the moment around 4%, and you can see that on the top right hand corner of your screen. It clearly indicates in a large yellow number 4%. Well, we can see all four race categories and where they are at the moment. So category A at 6 kilometres into the race. Category B not far behind, 5.6 kilometres of racing for category B, and a group all together like we see in category A. We've got one rider off the front in Category C, Arena at the moment, just pushing on just a little bit out on the front of the group chasing behind, a steady pace coming from that group. A couple of riders just off the back of the group as well, we can see in that Category C race field. Category D at 4.3 kilometres. They are regrouping after that sprint effort, and a group forming at the front. We've got Poole in there, Breeze, Cook, Taylor. Halbus is in there. Carlett from the Ionian squad is in there as well. It's a much smaller front group in Category D than we see in the other categories at the moment. So the climbs continue for our Category A riders at the moment. Interesting to see how these women continue to move. Now in this field with the Category A women, Bullock is in here, London, Nevin, Engstrom, Gallegos, Proust, Parry, McIntosh, Tomkinson, Otto, Bullock, Maudsley, all in the group at the moment. So this group now hitting the downhill section, the pace picking up. They've done the climb, and look at the way the pace is picking up there very, very quickly. 60, 65 kilometres an hour, heading towards 70 kilometres an hour. Parry, we can see going off the front there. She's got an anvil now. We do indeed have power-ups tonight. Those temporary superpowers are back. The anvil, 50 seconds of help and aid on a downhill section. The feather, 30 seconds of uphill help on a climb, and the aero, 15 seconds of being more aerodynamic as Parry port back into the group now as the gradient very, very quickly changes. Horner coming to the fore as we see the riders come up and over the top. Proust is there, London is there, Bullock is there. The climbing now really starting to get underway. Baines is in the mix too, so is Engstrom. These riders wanting to stay in the group, not wanting to be out on front. In fact, a lot of the climbing here, you really don't want to be out on front, particularly if you want to be first across the line or fastest through the segment. I've learnt that racing here in Yorkshire the hard way, trying to go for a section from the bottom to the top with a wave of riders snowballing right over the top of me within 100 metres of the line, and my legs not able to respond. Well, that's not going to happen to our B category riders tonight or our A category riders. They're going to get their technique right in terms of the climbing here in Yorkshire. The next intermediate facing them is the Yorkshire QOM. It's going to come at around 12 kilometres into this race tonight. A 1.2 kilometre segment, so a long climb for our women with an average gradient of 5.5%. So it is going to go up. This time round, it's going to be first across the line that takes the points. So being part and parcel of the front group of racers going into that climb, absolutely essential. And in the D category race, we can see now that the group has indeed reformed. We can see a good, strong front group with a trail of riders behind it. Now, Weber is here, Hutchinson is here, Cook is in the mix, so is Poole. These riders in the mix here. So, Bold, Hanson, Taylor, Hughes, Powell. These riders have got into this group and are holding this pace as the pace is set on the front by Powell from the ESRT squad. Category D continuing to push on, but it's Category A who are the furthest down the road at the moment. 8.8 kilometres into this race, just shy of 9 kilometres into this 27.8 kilometre race. Well, as you will have seen if you have been watching our previous programmes from the Iceni Women's Race Series, we've been asking some of our riders some questions to get their views on what cycling means to them and what advice they would give to other women who have not raced on Zwift before. And we've been hearing from one of our two of our riders each week, and this week is no exception. We're going to hear from Jen tonight.
Cycling, especially indoor cycling, is all about community and friendship and challenging yourself to push to new limits. If you haven't raced on Zwift before, I encourage you to just give it a go. Once you've done it once, you'll be completely hooked. The other piece of advice, find a great team with a great community that aligns with your values, and you'll never look back.
Jen in front of that map of the world, and our riders coming on to the Iceni Women's Series from all around the world. We can see those flags, whether they are from the USA, from Germany, from the UK, from Wales, from all over the globe. The Swedish Zwifters are also out in force, which is fantastic to see our Scandinavian riders as well in the mix. They are 4 groups of women coming together on the Iceni Women's Series from all over the world. Absolutely brilliant to see. Well, they're all over the world, but they are on this course in Yorkshire. And I tell you something, we said at the beginning of the show that we were celebrating Women's History Month with the Iceni Women's Race Series. Well, Yorkshire is not shy of historical women. So we all know Helen Fielding, aka Bridget Jones, also from Yorkshire, and Barbara Bradford Taylor. Yeah, 1979, she wrote A Woman of Substance. It was her very first novel. 30 million copies of that novel have been sold worldwide. Well, historical female writers from Yorkshire. We've also historical female cyclists, historic female cyclists, and my favourite of the lot, Beryl Burton, 7 world titles, and in 1967 Burton took the world record for the 12-hour time trial, and she exceeded the men's record, and it held for 2 years. Well, phenomenal cycling from Burton, a Yorkshire woman through and through. At the moment, well, we're watching Alba from Synergy in Category A at the moment, descending like a stone in Yorkshire at the moment. So the Synergy rider absolutely motoring. Proust behind has just dropped an anvil to come through and over the top and gain the momentum. They're coming down into the bottom here by the river. This is a tight and technical corner. Well, it is in real life as they go into the base of the climb. Many a road race has come a cropper in real life in Yorkshire at that exact moment, but we've not got that problem here on Zwift. The women come round the tight corner at the bottom, over the bridge and on to the climb. This is the Queen of the Mountains reverse section. They're going to go down on the other side. At the moment, they're going up the Yorkshire Queen of the Mountains. So 1.2 kilometres with an average gradient of 5.5%. It's going to be first across the line. Proust in second, Gallegos in third, Beram in fourth, Otto in fifth, Parry is there, London is there, Bullock is there, Tompkinson is there, who we have seen on our screen. In fact, Kath Tompkinson on our screen now with Elise Gallegos, absolutely pushing 2 very different styles. Kath much more upright, watching the phone. Elise down on the bike, really pushing on. The riders here coming through, they are pushing on to this climb. They want those points at the top as the stretch comes on to the group. Gallegos is right up at the nose of this group. Proust is there as well. As the riders continue to push in Category A, look at that power. Look at those numbers as Elise Gallegos goes up and through and over the top of the rest of the group. She's stretching it out here. 540 watts at the moment. She is absolutely working hard. London and Proust are trying to go with her as she drops a power up. She drops the feather right at the top. This is absolutely perfect Zwifting here. Phenomenal racing from Iceni Gallegos. Otto now following in two. Really, really strong climbing. She's going to take 25 points going first over the line on the Yorkshire Queen of the Mountains. Otto currently lying in first place on the overall standings going through in two. That's going to be 18 points for her. So the riders now coming down the other side. Big, deep breaths, heart rate dropping dramatically. Otto now pulling towards Iceni Gallegos' back wheel. Lundin in 3, Engstrom in 4, Proust in 5, closing the gaps down, wanting this group to reform here as they continue to work together. Lower down on the Yorkshire QOM is indeed Category B. In fact, Smederoid from the ESRT squad can see the banner now at the top. Put 3 seconds into Sogrum at the moment. Cabot 3 seconds back as well. Lawson from the Ionian squad now pushing on too. In fact, are we going to see Sogrum come up over the top of Smederoid? This is going to be close for these points. I think we're going to see teammates pushing on as the chase comes from behind as well. So Sogrum pushes here. Smederoid is going to go from first to third as Gina from Team Netherlands goes over the top as well. Dobbins is in the mix there too. So is Ernst from Crushpod. Cabot is there as well. Lawson from the Ionian squad in the mix as well. Great riding from these women. After those points being awarded to the top 10 over the line on this intermediate section. Category C, now we can see the gradients currently at 7% under those wheels. These are the next riders on to this intermediate. They're on to the Yorkshire Quam. They are pushing from the front, and we really have a push coming on now. And Nay is the rider pushing now. She is currently leading the standings in the overall, and she is pushing hard here at the moment. So Nay pushing here. August from Galaxy coming up. Profumo is there as well. So is Rosenbeck. Andrea from the Ionian squad is there. So is Nyberg. Seeger is there too. Boxy from Galaxy. Luckberg as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 women now pulling away here in this Category C race. Well, are they going to stay clear? Are they going to continue to push up this climb? Or are we going to see riders come up to the back of this group and come over the top like we have seen in some of the other categories? So August from Galaxy pushing on here. Andrea from the Ionian squad 4 seconds back with Rosenbeck, Profumo, Ane, Boxy. Wimblet is indeed 6 seconds back with Luckberg. So there's a trail of riders down the hillside behind August at the moment, but the Galaxy rider currently 4 seconds ahead of the Ionian race team rider. Rosenbeck 5 seconds behind. Can she hold this? Can there be a kick from behind? I think the Galaxy rider may be picking up the 25 points for first across the line here today. Well, Profumo pushing on here as well. Boxy, Rosenberg, Andrea all change here. Wimblet is here too. Profumo pushes on here. She's come up and over the top of August, the Galaxy rider. So Profumo is the rider who's going to take the points here. August in 2, Boxy in 3, Rosenbeck in 4, Andrea from Ionian in 5. Luckberg coming up very, very fast. So is Wimblet there. Now, really, really interesting racing on that climb. We're seeing the riders who go out hard towards the bottom, not necessarily holding it to the top. Well, the riders at the front of that Category C race now going over the top and down the other side. This is the Category D race, and this group of riders now about to come into the Queen of the Mountains section. is indeed 1.2 kilometers in length. And in the D race, we have a breakaway at the moment. Granger, phenomenal effort here. You can just see the pack in the distance, but 16 seconds at the moment from Granger. The rider here pushing on. Carla from Aeonian is leading the chase with Paul. They are 10-11 seconds back, but the group is coming in hard, and that's because the gradient has risen steeply under Granger's wheels. Paul now pulling the group behind. Taylor from Level Racing coming up, and Hughes. Halbus, the Swedish Zwifter, is in the mix as well. These riders really pushing on now. So category D coming to the fore now as the riders come back together. Granger had broken away from the group, but Taylor, Paul, Halbus all now coming into the mix. Carla from Aeonian, Hughes from Level, Wilkman from the Swedish Zwifters, all in the mix, coming up and through and closing down the gaps here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 riders breaking clear in category D on this climb at the moment. Lindholm now in the group, 10 seconds back. Well, the power-ups now being dropped in this climb, in this category D race. Heelit, the crush pod rider, is the one with the feather over her head at the moment. Taylor still racing hard. Halbus is there as well. But we've seen these riders go early on this climb in our other 3 categories. And we've seen the riders who wait with patience come back and go over the top. Is that going to happen here? Is the Crush Posh rider going to be caught in the latter stages of the climb as it gets steeper, or is she going to stay clear at the moment? So Stowe Heelit, the Crush Pod rider, in the mix here. We can see the chasing group coming. They're coming behind. Are they going to make it? Hughes at 5 seconds. Wickman is there. So is Carla from the Aeonian squad. Halbus, Paul, Taylor. Granger, the early leader going into this climb, is in that chase group as well. And Heelit, if she lifts her head, she can see that orange banner ahead signifying the finish to this climb. Well, this is the Yorkshire QOM. It's 1.2 kilometres long with an average gradient of 5.5%. Is 7% at the moment under the wheels of these women as our lone leader gets caught. Carla from the Aeonian squad coming up with Hughes, with Halbus, with Wickman, with Paul pushing on. This is first across the line, who picks up 25 points, and Hughes is the rider pushing on here. Can Hughes from Level make this first across the line to take the 25 points? Carla from Aeonian is in 2. Well, there's 18 points for second place, 15 points for third. It's Hughes who's going to pick up that 25 points. Halbus is fighting with Williams for that second place. It is all go in that D category race at the moment. Well, that's in the D category race. In the A category race, our women have already gone through, I think, the next climb. So they have already gone up and through the Yorkshire QOM reverse. That just shows you how fast our category 1 women are racing. And it's Elise Gallegos who's gone up and over the top in 1. She's got the polka dot jersey, and you can see that banner at the top. She's gone up and over. Engstrom is there, Nevin is there, Proust is there, Otto is there. All of these riders coming down off of that final intermediate. Now, that intermediate, the Yorkshire QOM reverse, is fastest through the segment, not first across the line. So it's going to be interesting to see whom in that category A race has picked up that quickest time. Now in category B, this is going to be interesting as well. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 riders all pretty much together here. It's Gina at the moment from Team Netherlands in the mix. Cabot from Canada's in 2. Mim from Level Racing in 3. Sogren from ESRT In 4, these riders pushing on here. Smederoid and Dobbs not far back. Ernst from Crushpod not far back. In fact, there's a whole host of riders just 3 or 4 seconds back at the moment. So as they turn the corner and go under the banner, it is indeed Cabot and Gina who go through 1 and 2. But this is about the fastest time through the segment. And Tori is in the mix. Ernst is in the mix. Tennille is in the mix. Is going to be interesting to see who picks up those points as we see the anvils go down. Those power-ups drop very, very quickly to make the catch, because this now is all about the run to the finish line. The big points today are at that finish line, and that's what our Category B riders are looking for. So back with our Category C riders, you can tell they've just gone over that red dotted line, indicating the start of the final intermediate climb today. The Yorkshire QOM reverse, 1.2 kilometres. 48 metres of climbing. Is an average gradient of 3.8%, but as we saw, there is a flatter section in the middle where the gradient really does back off. It's steep at the start, it flattens off, and then it kicks again. And now what we have seen is our early leaders on this climb get caught as riders come through faster towards the end, and they're looking for the fastest time, not necessarily first across the line. Now, Category C, 30 minutes of racing underway and complete as they go into this section now. We've got August, Seeger, Andrea, Nina Wimblet in here. Profumo, who picked up earlier points, is in the mix as well, currently lying in 7th place here. And Nay, the rider, in the lead of Category C in terms of points in the overall competition at the moment as well in the mix. So is Wimblet. Rosenbeck here too, so is Hughes. This is going to be a really interesting climb as we come towards the latter stages here. This is Category C, and these women, the gradient now 7% as they continue to push on, and it's Sammy Profumo. She's dropped a feather as well, so she's saved that till the steep section. This is 7% at the moment, and Profumo really pushing on here, trying to ride away from Ane, from Rosenbeck, and from Andrea from the Aeonian squad. August from Galaxy now 4 seconds back. Nyberg is there as well as Profumo continues to push on. Now she wants the points tonight. She's brought her climbing legs with her, and she is showing us how strong she is on these climbing sections tonight. Well, the feather has now finished. That 30 seconds of benefit now gone, and the latter stages of this climb still to be complete. She's got to come up this section and take the right hand corner. When she gets around that bend, the polka dot banner is there. Will she have set the fastest time up the climb? She's going to be the first rider over the top, I think. Ane 6 seconds back. Rosenbeck 7 seconds back. Wimblet 8 seconds back with her teammate Andrea from the Aeonian squad as well. August from Galaxy and Boxy from Galaxy are also in that group. Nyberg is there as well. So a big chase group behind. But Profumo is going to go underneath the polka dot banner first. Will she have set the fastest time through the segment? Only time will tell. Well, Ane, Wimblet, Rosenbeck, August, Boxy, the riders that we expect to go through here, all going through as a group. Seeger is the next rider behind. Tufferson also 10 seconds back. So the groups now, the stretch on the group, really big coming up, and what the riders need to do now is regroup. They need to get back onto the wheel in front. They need to try and get into the mix, because the next time there are points is at the finish line, and those finish line points, well, 75 points for going over the finish line first. Whilst Category A, B and C think about how and when they are going to get to the finish line. This is Category D, and they are working their way into the base of the Yorkshire QOM reverse climb. So they are at 17.3 kilometres now of this 27.8 kilometre race. This climb faces them ahead, as we've seen with the other categories. It kicks steep at the start, it levels off somewhat, and then it kicks again 7% towards the top. And we're looking for the fastest time through the segment, not the first rider across the line. Though, of course, those two things may be equal. Who knows? Well, Wickman from Swedish Zwift is going over the red line first. That indicates the start of the climb. Carla from Ionian in the group. Hughes from Level. Granger in there as well. Niklasen from the Swedish Zwifters also in the mix too. So it's looking like we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 riders in this leading group. Paul is also here with Halbus. This small group in the category D race. Now 25 seconds clear of the riders behind. Now, whilst we focus on this, these 7 riders may well not set the fastest time up here. That might come from someone behind, though the assumption being that these riders have the strongest legs today because they are in the leading group. But don't always count or make an assumption. Well, Wickman coming back on to the group, pushing hard here, going through the group and up and over. Halbus in the group too. Wickman, Hughes, Halbus, Carla from Ionian, Stowe, Healit from Crushberg, Granger in there. Poole is here as well. The chase group now 32 seconds back. This group, regardless of who sets the fastest time up here, they need to adamantly stay together. All of these riders, well, none of these riders will want to drop the rest of the group. They will want to stay with them because they will want to work with them to the finish line for those finish points. They will not want to get broken on this climb. The gradient starts to kick up. We're currently at around 7%. Hughes is on the front here. Granger, Halbus, Carla from Aeonian. Williams is here. This is absolutely neck and neck, side by side in this Category D race at the moment. Now, the Category D race, the most competitive in terms of the closeness of the racing in the overall series at the moment. Halbus, 10 seconds ahead of Williams, who is 10 points ahead of Williams, who is 21 points ahead of Michelle F., who is 5 points ahead of Gottberg, who is 2 points ahead of Taylor, who is 3 points ahead of Healit, who is 1 point ahead of Hughes. Now we know why all these riders are absolutely hanging on to the coattails of the riders in front, because they want the points available to them at the top of this climb. Halbus and Hughes working hard at the front here. Williams and Poole, the 2 Aeonian riders, are the ones doing the chase. Granger and Healit in the mix. Wickman is there as well. Taylor is the rider leading the chase group. They are now 35 seconds behind. So the power-ups come out of the back pockets. The feathers are out at the front here. And that is Hughes who has got the feather there. Hughes, Poole, Halbus, as Williams from the Aeonian squad puts hers into play late in the day. She's left that late in the day, but this may be great timing for Williams. Poole from the Aeonian squad is right on the wheels of Halbus too, as here comes Williams, absolutely pushing on with that feather. Perfect timing there to pick up the pace. She's going to swing round the corner, but it's going to be Hughes who goes under the polka dot banner first. Williams goes over in 2, Halbus in 3. Poole is there as well, as Granger. Healit is there too from Crushbud. Wickman from the Swedish Zwifters. Then it's going to be Taylor from Level. Now, our Category D riders pushing on, up and on to that climb onto the polka dot banner. Now that group are going to pick up pace and they're going to roll fast away from the chasing group. The chasing group at the moment being led by Taylor. Now, as our Category D riders come up that climb, we've seen the first 7 riders go up and over the top. This is Category A. So back to Category A, they have got 2.5 kilometres left to race today. We've got 3 riders here clear. Now, taking a little look at where the points have gone today in this Category A race. Elise Gallegos, well, she is a rider on form. Can she make it a maximum points score today by taking the win as well? She's got the win in the sprint reverse, the fastest through the segment. The QOM, she took the win there as well. She took the win in the QOM reverse too. Now, let's take a little bit of a look who else is in the points. So Gallegos, Petroska, Proust, Dobbins, Horner, Augustin, Otto, Bermond, Sogren and Nevin, the top 10 fastest through the segment on the sprint reverse. First across the line in the QOM, Gallegos, Otto, Proust, Bermond, Petroska, Lundin, Engstrom, Nevin, Kellstrom and Bullock. And then the last intermediate was fastest through the segment as well. Gallegos, Engstrom, Nevin, Piotrowska, Proust, Otto, Bermond, Lundin, Kellstrom and Bullock. Now, Bermond, Gallegos and Piotrowska are the three riders here on this run in to the finish. They've got about 1.2 kilometers to go until they get here. They are 10 seconds clear of Otto, who is 22 seconds clear of the chase group. Well, Proust is in the mix as well in that group behind, but we are in with the three riders at the front here on this run into the finish line. Elise Gallegos, can she make it a maximum point score tonight? Can she pick up the 75 points on the finish line to make a total point score of 150? A perfect score tonight. Is it possible? Does she have the legs? Well, we are very, very shortly about to find out, because they're on the run into the finish, and it is indeed Gallegos who is opening up here. She's at the back of the group. She wants to use the draft off the other riders. They can see the finish line as she opens up the sprint, but Piotrowska is kicking as well. Gallegos, can she hold this? I don't know whether she can, as Piotrowska comes over the top at 14 watts per kilo. She's going to take it from Gallegos. It's not going to be perfect points. Bermond in 3. Otto, I think, is going to come through for 4th place. And then we're going to see a sprint behind. Well, not quite perfect points for Gallegos tonight. She's going to have to settle for not taking the 75 points on the start, on the finish line. But what a points haul for Elise Gallegos tonight. The B category race, well, they are now on the run in to the finish as well. 26 kilometres now of this 27.8 kilometre race. They've been racing for 42 minutes. Cabot coming up and over the top here. Dobbins is here. Gina is here. Louise is here from Team Foudre. Tennille from Rave On is in the mix as well. Ernst from Crush Pod is here too. These riders in this B category race, well, what can we say? Absolutely rolling fast at the moment. Tennille Irish from the Rave Squad. Cabot in the mix there. Louise from Foudre. These riders are really working hard. They are all in this group here. This group now 22 seconds clear. 7, 8, 9 riders. So 9 riders clear now. 23 seconds clear of the chase group behind. We've got Tennille Irish from Rave On. We've got Smederoid in here. We've got Gina in here as well from Team Netherlands. In fact, that's Gina van Rossum in the mix there. So we've got Dobbins in here too. Ernst is in the mix here as we see an anvil dropped on this slight descent. Just a descent at 3%, but that's going to allow Sogren to pick up the pace. Currently at 60 kilometers an hour as she swings into this run to the finish. She's kicking hard here. What have the other riders got? We've got an aero dropped here as Sogren goes over the top. It's Gina from Team Netherlands who is pushing on. Tennille Irish from Rave On is there. Dobbins, what can she do at 8 watts per kilo? But it's going to be Gina from Team Netherlands who takes this. I think it's going to be Dobbins takes 2. Sogren is there. Smederum is there. Cabot is there. Riders coming through and across the line, thick and fast in that race. Well, as our category B riders come over the line. Our Category C riders are not there yet. Category C still with over 2 kilometres of racing to go. Well, this is interesting. We've got 2 riders clear at the moment on this drop down in Category C. Boxy from Galaxy is with Profumo. 6 seconds clear of what looks like a chase group of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 riders. And there you go. You can see them just coming off the hill in the back. So 2 riders up front, 6 riders on the chase. Well, are they going to be able to take the win here as they push on through this course around Yorkshire now? Lizzie Digan, a very famous Yorkshire cyclist. Well, I wonder whether she would take the win here too today, but she's not in the race, so she can't. That's going to come down to Profumo or Boxy. Andrea and Wimbledon, the chase group, have caught. Now, this is going to be an interesting finish as our groups come back together. So, Andrea from the Aeonian squad, Rosenbeck, Wimbledon from the Aeonian, August from Galaxy, Ane from Gen 2, Boxy from Galaxy, Profumo, the Italian rider, in here as well. These riders continuing to push here. They've got 2.5 kilometres still to go on this course. Well, it's a little bit of a drag up at the moment and then a run down towards the finish. And Profumo just getting dropped off the back there at the moment. She's going to have to take this before she sees... she's going to have to close that gap down. In fact, she's 3 seconds off the back here. Andrea is putting on a strong pace at the front. So the rider from the Aeonian squad pushing on at the front, but it's August from Galaxy who is coming up as well. Rosenbeck is there too. So is Wimbledon and Ane from Gen 2. These riders pushing on. Boxy from Galaxy coming up on those Tron bikes as well. So it is the finish, the finale of the Category C race that we are looking at the moment. 8 riders in the mix here altogether. We've got Ane from Gen 2. She's currently leading the standings at the moment on the overall results, just sitting on the back here, not wanting to lead them into the sprint. They're going to drop down here on this descent. Then they're going to take the corner at the bottom of this descent. And then they will see that finish line. Sprint will open up. Now, who's going to carry the pace into that sprint? We have seen in the other 2 finishes, the riders who carry the momentum of this downhill, not necessarily benefiting from it in the latter stages of that sprint. It's the riders who come from the back and utilise the draft that have the benefit. Well, it's the Galaxy rider on the front, 2 Aeonian riders in the mix. Profumo, though, well, she has been picking up points today, trying to move up through the race standings, currently lying in 6th place overall. She's moved into that top position last week with those 3 mini races. Can she move on up into the top 5? Well, this finish position is going to add to her points score today. So August from Galaxy, Boxy, 2 Galaxy riders, 2 Aeonian riders. What are they going to do on the run into this finish? Just 800 metres now for our Category C riders. August from Galaxy, Ane, Profumo, Wimbledon, Andrea, Boxy and Rosenbeck all go through into the corner. They can see the finish line ahead of them. They are opening up the sprint and Ane is kicking. Wimbledon is too. Ane from Gen 2 absolutely motoring, but it's Andrea from the Aeonian squad who's going double numbers. Rosenbeck is on the front. Can the Aeonian rider come up and over the top? Or will Rosenbeck hold it? Rosenbeck has held that from Andrea on the Aeonian squad. What a sprint from our Category C riders. Hughes now coming through to take the finish line here in Yorkshire on Category C, as we see those riders continue to work their way through the finish line in that Category C race. Category D, our racers still out on the course. So our Category D riders, and it's looking like we've got a split in the group here. So Halbus and Hughes, two riders in this Category D race. Halbus currently leading the overall standings coming into the race in Yorkshire tonight. Hughes lying in 7th position overall. Now, these two riders clear of the chasing group. The chasing group at the moment looks like two Aeonian race team teammates, Carla Williams and Mandy Poole. Then we go back down and we've got two riders sat at 13-14 seconds. Granger and Healit from the Crush Pod, as we can see there. So 2, 2 and 2. Then Taylor, and then two further rides. This Category D race has been absolutely split apart by this course in Yorkshire. These climbs have absolutely come thick and fast today and decimated the legs of these Category D riders. We said it was close points wise in Category D, with just 55 points separating the top 10 riders. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens to those points overall when we finish this race tonight. Well, whilst we wait for our Category D riders to chase hard and close down those gaps, we have one more video for you tonight. If you remember, we asked our riders what does cycling mean to them and what advice would they give to other women who have not raced on Zwift before. Well, we've heard from Jen this evening. Let's hear from Whitney.
Hey, I'm Whitney Stidham. I race for On the Rivet Racing. The advice that I would give to ladies that are getting into racing would be to not be afraid. Just get out there and do it. I know it's a little scary. Anytime you have a new experience, you're going to be a little scared. That's normal. But don't be afraid to get out there and push yourself. The ladies cycling community is very strong, and you're going to meet a lot of amazing ladies. You're also going to meet a lot of strong ladies too. So my best advice would be to just get out there and do it. You know, just don't be afraid. Just get out there and say, hey, I'm going to race. So that would be my advice.
Always great to hear from our riders giving advice to the women out there who might want to join on esports, whether you are joining to ride and get fit, whether you are joining to race. There is something out there for all of you, whatever your age, whatever your current level of fitness. And keep an eye out for the teams that you can join. Keep an eye out for the races you can enter. And don't forget, there's still one more Iceni race next week. Well, we said what was going to happen in this Category D race, and Hughes has pushed on here. Last time we saw Hughes and Halbus, they were absolutely side by side, neck and neck together, and we had a 10-second gap back to the chase group, which was two riders, Poole from the Aeonian squad and Williams from Aeonian. Well, it's all mixed up behind as well. So Hughes has pushed on. She's on the descent now, which is the run into the finish line. Halbus, 11 seconds back. She's got a gap to close now. Can she do it on this descent? Poole, Williams, Granger, Healit, all now sitting around 35 seconds back. Wickman, the Swedish Zwifter, 43 seconds back. Then Taylor, 1.5 minutes back. But it is indeed Carla from the Aeonian squad with Poole, with Granger in this mix here together. These are the riders chasing Hughes. Well, there's three riders here as Halbus is behind Hughes, 11 seconds now. But can she catch Hughes before the finish line? There is not that far to go now. But As we say never in a bike race, because you just do not know what is going to happen in the final stages. You think you're clear, but who knows what is going on behind? Well, Halbus is the rider behind. She's 12 seconds behind of Hughes at the moment, the level rider here that we are watching. So Hughes currently lying in 7th position in the overall standings. Looks like she might be able to walk away with the maximum number of finish points today. She's had a great race in Yorkshire and the climbing has really suited her. So whilst this climbing has suited Hughes, Halbus is the rider who has been dropped on the latter stages. She got dropped on the final climb because Hughes' legs were strong. Hughes' legs are strong because Hughes is going to come around the final corner. She's going to see the finish line first in this category D race. There it is, resplendent in its orange glory. She cannot wait to cross that line. She's going to pick up 75 points for doing so. She's going to be the first rider over the line in this category D race, and she broke Halbus on that final climb to do so. Congratulations to Hughes, who takes the win in the category D race. Halbus is the rider coming in now in 2nd place. The Swedish Zwifter rolling through the line. The chase is on behind, but Hughes and Halbus will be clear of the line before the sprint opens up, and the sprint has opened up behind for 3rd place. Granger has opened it up, so has Williams from Ionian, and Carla Williams from Ionian. 7.2 watts per kilo. She goes up and over the top here. Can she take 3rd place? Yes, she does. She was lying in 2nd position on the overall standings. Those extra points are going to serve her well tonight as we watch Hulit come through. Wickman is going to be the next rider through in category D, and Taylor is going to be the next rider, but 1 minute 52 seconds back to Taylor from level. Just starting on that descent now, on that run, in still 1.2 kilometers of descent to go before she gets to the finish line. Well, we mentioned that this category D race had been split apart by the climbing in Yorkshire. Well, it really, really has. So Yorkshire today has given us some fantastic racing. The figure of 8 course has been phenomenal across all 4 of our categories: category A, category B, category C and category D. And we watch here Taylor from that D category race now coming round the final corner. She's going to see a very, very welcome finish line. She is 14 seconds clear of the rider behind her. Booth will not catch her now. Absolutely pleased as punch, I would imagine. Taylor, our rider in 5th position overall in the category D series, that she's got that gap on Booth behind, because it gives her a steady run to that finish line. Taylor comes across the line in category D. Booth's going to be the next rider through and across the line, just making use of that power up to help her through the line. Behind, we've got a Breeze rider, so Breeze Watford coming through now. She can see the finish line. She's 32 seconds clear of the Socks for Watts rider behind. Law from level a little further back, then Lindholm, the Swedish Zwifter. Kroll is there as well, so is Weber. These riders all now going to start to make their way through and across the line in this category D race. But 10th place today goes to our Breeze Watford rider. So let's take a look at the riders and the order they came over the line tonight on this Royal Pump Room 8 course. So 27.8 kilometres of racing today. It was all about the climbs, and it was Piotrowska who finished and came across the line first. In that sprint from Gallegos, she took the win in 42 minutes, 39 seconds. Phenomenal sprint we saw. Elise Gallegos picking up all 3 intermediate points today, and she was half a second back off first place in that final sprint for the finish. Berrimond in 3, Otto in 4, Nevin in 5, Proust in 6, Lundin in 7, Engstrom taking 8th, Bullock taking 9th, and Augustin taking 10th position today in category A. Well, the results in category B. Now, category A, the fastest time was 42 minutes 39 seconds. The winning time in category B, 2 minutes 14 seconds back, and that was Van Rossum over the line ahead of Dobbins, Tennille Irish, Sogram, Ernst, Smederoid, Malay, Cabot from Next, then Rachel from Dragons Race Tea, and Sonny from the Betty squad, rounding out the top 10. Close racing in category B today. So 34 seconds separating the top 10 riders in category B today. Category C, well, finishing 7 minutes 17 seconds back from the winning time in the category A race. And Rosenbeck coming across the line first. Andrea Heinrich from the Ionian squad in 2. Phenomenal sprinting there. Take a look at that. The top 4 riders awarded the same time. Ene from Herd and Wimbledon from the Ionian squad as well. 7 minutes 17 seconds back from that category A win. What a sprint that was. Boxy, Profumo and August just missing out. McHugh, Nyberg and Zoella are the riders in category C, rounding out the top 10. Our category D riders, these were the riders we've just seen come through and over the line, finishing 13 minutes and 52 seconds back from the A category win. It was Sarah Hughes from Level who took that win in style. She broke Halbus on that final climb and came down the descent and into the finish line, clear of the rider in second place. Fabulous job. So Halbus in 2, Williams in 3, Sven in 4, Paul in 5, Sarah Stowe in 6, Wickman in 7, Taylor in 8th, Helen from Breeze Watford in 9th, and Kathy Hutchinson in 10th place in that D race today. Well, Yorkshire did not disappoint. That climbing just was endless. And if you race tonight, congratulations, go and recover. Those legs are going to be in serious need of recovery. 3 uphill intermediates giving points as well as that finish line tonight. Those points will all be added to the overall standings to give the league results after Challenge 3, which was indeed tonight. We've got one more challenge to go next week. Head over to Zwift Power to find the full results. Or, of course, you can follow the Warrior Games. You can follow me at Biking Emma. You can follow and like ZMS Studios, the production team, for all of the links and clips of the footage to tonight's race. Well, next week we head to France. We've done Yorkshire. We're now going to France. Caspats, the final challenge of the Iceni race series. Climbs and sprints, 4 intermediates across the race. The course that has it all is going to be the final challenge of the Iceni. So a maximum of 175 points up for grabs next week. So everything could change at the top of those race standings yet again. I can't wait to do that. I can't wait to watch our riders. It's going to be a fantastic finale to the Iceni race series. All that leaves me to do is say a number of thank yous. Thank you to our riders tonight. The action was fantastic. Let's not forget, we've got the Americas starting in about 5 hours' time and another 100 women taking to the race. Well, if they watch this back, they'll know what's facing them and they'll know that tactic at the end in terms of taking that win. Well, thank you to our viewers as well. Please, whether you are on YouTube or Facebook, like the ZMS Esports Studios. It will send you links to the next round of productions and programs that they are putting out. You can follow me at Biking Emma. Also want to say thank you to the Warrior Games and the Aeonian race team for bringing us the Iceni race series. Well, until next week, hang on to your hats. Let the Warrior Games and the Aeonian race team add those points together. Take a look at Zwift Power, see where the league standings are. And next week, bring your cowbells, bring your rattles, bring your cheering. Pick your favourites and let's see who can win the Iceni race series. We'll see you next week. Goodbye.